Postscript. On August 6, 1960, my family arrived in New York City, exiles from the tyranny of Trujillo. My father had participated in an underground plot that was cracked by the SIM, Trujillo's famous secret police. At the notorious torture chamber of La 40, it was just a matter of time before those who were captured gave out the names of other members. Almost 4 months after our escape, 3 sisters, who had also been members of that underground, were murdered on their way home on a lonely mountain road. They had been to visit their jailed husbands, who had purposefully been transferred to a distant prison so that the women would be forced to make this perilous journey. A 4th sister, who did not make the trip that day, survived. When, as a young girl, I heard about the accident, I could not get the Mirabals out of my mind. On my frequent trips back to the Dominican Republic, I sought out whatever information I could about these brave and beautiful sisters who had done what few and only a handful of women had been willing to do. During that terrifying 31-year regime, any hint of disagreement was ultimately resulted in death for the dissenter and often for the members of his or her family. Yet the Mirabals had risked their lives. I kept asking myself, what gave them that special courage? It was to understand that question that I began this story. But as happens with any story, the characters took over. Beyond polemics and facts, they became real to my imagination. I began to invent them. So it is that which you find in these pages are not the Mirabal sisters of fact, or even the Mirabal sisters of legend. The actual sisters I never knew, nor did I have access to enough information or the talents and inclinations of a biographer to be able to adequately record them. As for the sisters of legend, wrapped up in superlatives and ascended into myth, they were finally also inaccessible to me. I realized, too, that such deification was dangerous. The same God-making impulse had created our tyrant, and ironically, by making them myth, we lost the Mirabals once more, dismissing the challenge of their courage as impossible for us ordinary men and women. So what you will find here are the Mirabals of my creation, made up, but I hope, true to the spirit of the real Mirabals. In addition, though I had researched the facts of the regime and events pertaining to Trujillo's 31-year despotism, I sometimes took liberties by changing dates, by reconstructing events, and by collapsing characters or incidents, for I wanted to immerse my readers in an epic in the life of the Dominican Republic that I believe can only finally be understood by fiction, only finally be redeemed by the imagination. A novel is not, after all, a historical document, but a way to travel through the human heart. I would hope that through this fictionalized story, I will bring acquaintance to these famous sisters to the English-speaking readers. November 25th, the day of their murder, is observed by many Latin American countries as the International Day Against Violence Towards Women. Obviously, these sisters who fought one tyrant have served as models for women fighting against injustices of all kinds. To Dominicans separated by language from the world I have created, I hope this book deepens North Americans' understanding of the nightmare you endured and the heavy losses you suffered, of which this story tells only a few. Vivan las mariposas!